Sup, guys, welcome back to the Cop Logic channel. Hope everyone's doing good. I'm here to talk about the fact that Klopp recently rejected the manager's job at the German national team. Because it's pretty big news, to be fair. Like, it seemed pretty obvious to a lot of people, but it is pretty big news nonetheless. So let me paint the picture on how this whole situation came about. In the last international break, Germany suffered quite a bad defeat to Japan, where they ended up losing 4-1. And it wasn't like even a complete thrashing, it was just that they had no bite to anything that they were doing. In fact, let me read you the stats real quick. So Germany had 11 shots to Japan's 14. They had 3 shots on target to Japan's 11. They had 754 passes to Japan's 366. And here's where you can see the trend forming. They had 90% pass accuracy to Japan's 83. 8 fouls to Japan's 11. 2 yellow cards to Japan's 1. And the rest don't really matter. But the main one being, they had 68% possession to Japan's 32. Now this probably wasn't as bad of a game for them as people may assume. Japan's actually still, in my opinion, an underrated team, and this just emphasizes exactly how they play. They did this entirely in the World Cup. In fact, I think their game against Spain in the World Cup was one of the lowest percentage possession for a win. Yeah, 17% possession to Spain's 83, and they won 2-1. So they're not on the ball constantly, but they absolutely make the most of their chances when they're on the ball. It just looks like Germany have absolutely no bite, and the people in charge of the German FA just decide they want to get someone in more, better. And guess whose name came up first when that news came out? That's right, Jurgen Norbert Klopp. It's no real surprise, he's probably the best German manager. I would have said Hansi Flick was a really good German manager, but he was already one in that position at 2. I think the Premier League is harder than the Bundesliga, so, Obviously in the world of football, things like this happen a lot when news becomes public. And straight away, there was a lot of articles and reporters linking Klopp to the German national team job, including a very interesting to me subplot of maybe Julian Nagelsmann takes over for now, and then in a couple of years, when Klopp's contract runs out, we basically swap managers. Klopp will go to the German national team and Nagelsmann will come to us. And I'm not saying I agree or I'm happy with that sort of rumour, by the way, but it's not far from the mark of reality. We've definitely appreciated Julian Nagelsmann in the past, and he's been linked to us a fair few times. So it isn't just a mad shout. Someone's actually put a bit of thought and effort into that rumour, so fair play. Sadly for them, that was swiftly proven to be incorrect a few days later by Paul Joyce. He confirmed that basically Jurgen Klopp has turned down an approach to become the official manager of the German national team. He then expanded later on to say that Jurgen Klopp was Germany's first choice to replace Hansi Flick, but the manager's commitment to Liverpool meant he did not consider an Anfield exit, even with the possibility of managing his country at home at the Euros. They then promptly decided to elect Julian Nagelsmann to take up that void. So I guess technically you can say the potential there to swap managers in a couple of years is still on. But as far as I'm aware, there's no immediate plan to do that. I think we'll probably not decide who our next manager is going to be before we need to, especially since Klopp isn't actually leaving. Because there's actually a few shouts of who the next manager could be, and to be fair, this could probably be a video in itself, but there's people like Xabi Alonso who's doing really well with Bayern Leverkusen. Nagelsmann, if he does get his career back on track with the German national team, is obviously a viable shout as well. And even Ange Postecoglou could be, because he's a Liverpool fan from young, and he's doing pretty well with Spurs, so he might be an option. But to make that decision now would be a bit wild, because what if Julian Nagelsmann decides to just nosedive Germany's form off a cliff? Or what if Xabi Alonso ends up becoming the second coming of Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp, and we've missed out on him because we decided a couple of years back we'll get Julian Nagelsmann instead because it worked out for the German national team. Basically, doesn't make sense to decide it now, so it's probably not happening. I've even just thought, this will absolutely piss people off, but we could even just take Pep Linders and put him in charge of the first team. And by the way, none of these are what I'm saying is my preference. I actually don't even know, because it's, again, stupid to decide it this early. Sure, Xabi Alonso is doing well with Bayern Leverkusen now, but, is that going to be the case in 3 years' time? Who knows? Anyway, Jurgen then expanded on it himself later on, and he said, "I have a loyalty to Liverpool. My heart is here in Liverpool. You can't just cut out the 8 years. I signed a contract here, and as far as I can remember, I wasn't drugged or tied up and had to sign with my mouth. That was a free decision." I'm not going to lie, Jurgen, that was a bit of a weird way to say you've got loyalties to Liverpool, but I'm still taking it. Now, I do actually think this is bigger than most people will realise. Number one, because I believe it was once a dream of Jurgen Klopp to coach and manage the German national team. I think it was a few years ago, but there was rumours that he told close friends and family that he one day wishes to coach the German national team and be their manager, and to win silverware. And honestly, I believe that, because what good manager wouldn't want to do that? Especially when that national team has got a side that could genuinely win the trophy. Now, they'd have to tweak it about and, really step up, but they could do it. They've got a good team, or at least had anyway. But also because next year is a real rare scenario, at least in this context. Germany hosting the Euros in 2024, so imagine them having Jurgen Klopp, a good German manager, managing to beat the German national team into fine shape, and ultimately winning the Euros in their home nation. Like, that must be a very rare scenario that most managers don't get to have. So for him to turn down that possibility was never a doubt to me, but also must have been so hard to say no to. Now, I know we all love Jurgen Klopp, and I know he loves us as well. But that's still going to be a difficult decision to make, or at least a difficult decision to reject anyway. And I get why the German national team have done it. If you don't ask, you don't get. I don't blame them for trying to tempt him away. Like, that will happen. But he's ours, so piss off. But what could this mean for our future? Because there's some rumours, admittedly nothing concrete, but there's some rumours that suggest he might be open to extending his stay at Liverpool. And if Julian Nagelsmann does not manage to do a fine job at the German national team, we might be having this conversation again in a couple of years' time. So is there a possibility that when Jurgen's contract is over in 2026, could he just leave and go to the national team? I mean, he could. It's definitely a possibility. I'm just not sure how high the percentage of that is. I think if there's no inherent need to, then the percentage definitely goes down. Let's say in 3 years' time, when his contract does expire, that Julian Nagelsmann has got the German national team winning everything. I don't see them having to sack him for any particular reason, just because Jurgen Klopp's now on the market if they're already winning. And at that point, is it really worth leaving Liverpool if you're just going to go and do nothing, or go to a different job? Maybe you do want a break, but, it's one of those. Again, why are we looking too much into the future? Let's just enjoy what we have now, and hopefully he does extend again. Not to psychoanalyze every little thing that Jurgen Klopp does, but you can definitely see where the rumours are coming from. It could just be relief from being out of the last season, but he definitely looks a lot happier this season. In fact, that game against West Ham afterwards, where he was skipping over to the cop in order to do the fist bumps, I've never seen him that happy for at least a few years now. And little things about how the team has now changed massively, like saying to the team, this isn't year 8, this is year 1, we're Liverpool 2.0. That kind of thing. We're going to start from the beginning. That's all. While it could be him saying, this is you guys, Liverpool 2.0, I'm just helping you get started, it could also signify that he might be open to staying. But again, that's when you psychoanalyze every little thing, which I said I wasn't going to do, but I just did. Deal with it. Well, yes, so Jurgen Klopp with us until 2026. At least. That is gonna wrap the video up there. So let me know what you guys thought about this whole drama. Were you ever worried that he might leave us and go to the German national team, or were you always confident like me that he would stay at Liverpool? Do you think he might sign a contract extension in the near future? Let us know in the comments down below. While you're doing that, if you did enjoy the video, could I ask you to please like the video as well? It helps with our stats and us being pushed on the algorithm as well. We've been a bit absent from videos lately, but we're definitely going to jump back on it. We've got loads in the pipeline ready to go. So make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and we'll see you in the near future. In a bit, lads.